Hey guys, it's Jed888 here. It's April 28th today. It's Friday. Part of this I want to share with some of the things I'm finding out with AT&T and Sprint and T-Mobile. Part of their upgrading, they're doing like a forced upgrade if you want to use their phones to 5G. So anyhow, this is kind of in the middle of my searching, but I came across this HR 2501. It's an act to require the National Telecommunications and Information Administration and the Federal Communication Commission to update the Memorandum of Understanding on Spectrum Coordination. Looking at the word spectrum, a band of colors as seen in a rainbow. Oh my, I bet we've seen enough of that lately, haven't we? Yep. We sure have. So understanding on spectrum coordination, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. They're calling it the Spectrum Coordination Act. So it passed the House. It was introduced by Gus M. Bellerakis. Here he is. You know what? He also... House.gov, he also, it says today in Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day, as they genocide the rest of the world. He introduced the Armenian Genocide Education Act. That's interesting. So they're talking about the Spectrum Coordination Act. It says to improve the process for resolving frequency, allocation disputes in shared or adjacent spectrum bands, ensure the efficient use of spectrum, and establish reasonable timelines for information exchanges between the administration and the commission. You know who the commission is? Well, when I asked who is the commission is the American Mafia. It's a governing body of the Italian American Mafia, formed in 1931 by Charles Lucky Luciano in New York. So real quick here regarding the Spectrum Coordination Act, 117th Congress, 2021 to 2022. Looking at gematria, Spectrum Coordination Act is also Dear Activated One, Smoking Pin on the Burning Page, and Shot, Heard Around the World. Imagine that, shot, as in the needle crafting. It's also Secret Service Agent Kennedy. But so the Spectrum Coordination Act, and just going a little bit deeper into that, when I mentioned Charles Luciano, look at his numerology, 530, 846 and 141. Remember, the commission is the mafia. I mean, not IT mafia, is mafia. Charles Luciano, these are his numbers. I am the storm, and there's your 141, as in the Mayday. Remember Mayday? There's 414. So I am the storm. So when Trump says, you know, he mentioned the storm, they go, what president? What storm, president? What storm? He goes, you'll see. And also looking at the numbers 2501. Here's 2501, as in the writing is on the wall. That's the writing is on the wall. 2501. But one thing I thought was interesting here, it was introduced on 414, and that's what's going to get to my bigger point. 414. So Mayday, the numbers in gematria, in English gematria, is 414. When I look real quickly at some of the numerology, it's 16. If you flip up 16, writing out the letters 1-6, you flip it upside down, it's 1-9. Simulation, Freemason, MK Ultra, and knowledge, like the Book of Knowledge. So almost every single time I try to call out, my phone reminds me that I need to upgrade my device, and if I don't, by May 1st, they're going to turn off my services. So I actually called both Sprint and AT&T because they're just different. I wanted to see what their upgrading protocol was. So there's a couple things that happened, but let me just go back to what I was doing with the Mayday. So May 1st is Sprint's big changeover and handing over to T-Mobile the 5G. I guess you have to put in a SIM card. So here's T-Mobile's coverage, and as of May 1st, they're going to be switching over. So basically from Sprint, if you don't have that SIM card, you're not going to have the correct services, I guess. They tell me that my device will shut down. That's what the recording says. When I am on my own phone, before I get the call that goes out, I get this 20-second reminder that I have to upgrade my device. So I'm going to share some of my conversation with many of the Sprint and AT&T employees. But just looking a little bit more at the Mayday 836. 836 in Gematria is computer program, the decrypted code, Jasper, and Jasper is let Jasper write your marketing copy for free. Remember Jasper AI? Archangel and Stella are a few. And looking at the English and simple gematria of the word Mayday, it's the law, false flag, and modern, which I thought was kind of interesting because it's close to the word Moderna. Continue looking at the word Mayday at 414 there. It's venom, snakes, and go time. And cutting in again real quickly, sorry, I just want to cover this, the Lucky Luciano, that mob boss. When I look at his anagram, it's a unlucky, sorry, I spelled that wrong. There you go. It's a unlucky coil. Kind of reminds me of that. Interesting. Don't tread on me. But look at that coil. And I happened to see this article. Scientists want to use people as antennas to power 6G. We haven't even started the 5G, supposedly. Well, we have, but January 6, 2023. Why? Because your body is great at harvesting wasted energy. So they're talking about the future of 6G telecommunications could come from visible light communication. It says researchers at the University of Massachusetts Amherst believe using humans as part of the antenna system offers the most efficient way to harvest waste energy. In the process, humans could wear coiled copper. Maybe that's what they mean by coiled. Remember, Lucky Luciano is a unlucky coil. I'll leave you the article, the link to this, but it says also LEDs bulbs can then transmit data and anything with a camera, like American is in camera, like our smartphones, tablets, or laptops could be the receiver. Yep, we're the receiver. Now you've got that needle crafted in you. And these psychopathic researchers believe that if they can harvest the wasted radio frequency energy from you, they could put to good use by powering small electronic devices. So you're going to be used for your energy. So after experimenting with wires, coils, and backgrounds, scientists realized the human body offers the best medium. Like they didn't know that long time ago. That's what this whole thing is about. This article is from Popular Mechanics, and I'll send you the link in this video, this in the description. 6G Power Humans Antennas. So it's interesting too, is this is Lucky Luciano here. And to me, he looks so much like this Michael Trent Reznor, who serves as the lead vocalist in the rock band, industrial rock band, 9 Inch Nails. Again, like the crucifixion. And I get into that a little later here, so I don't want to break this up, but I also showed his anagrams, which is incremental hertz, Mr. Centralized Throne, or our Teleman Hertz icon. But what's interesting to me is Lucky Luciano here. Here are his gematria numbers, the equivalent. So the numerical equivalent to Lucky Luciano's name is vaccination and singularity. And here are the numbers. And I don't know if I posted it yet, but that 930, that's right up there with Elon Musk's numbers also. Oh, and there he is. And this is what I also did about the bird is freed. I mentioned that. And that's Elon Musk said the bird is freed. I don't think I've released this yet, but that was a Twitter statement he made that I covered. And here's Google today on April 29th. Who is that? I mean, that's weird. It looks like it could be Lucky Luciano or Trent here, but I guess it's not. But anyhow, Charles Lucky Luciano was an Italian-born gangster, which we already mentioned, but he was, he started his criminal career in the 5 Points Gang and was instrumental in the development of the National Crime Syndicate here in the United States. And one more thing before I get back to where I had left off, before I interrupted myself, the 5 Points Gang, just 5 Points Gang, just look at that real quick. The Jewish gematria of 5 Points Gang, and look at that FI, like fee, fi, fo, fum is 69. But 1124 is words, or sword, but words. And remember in the Bible, it's John, I think it's John 1:1, it's the word was God. So words are super significant because they have a specific frequency. But they're twisted around now with this group of creeps. And they're hiding things and they're slipping things in, just like they did with the needlecraft. And people are trusting what they're seeing or what they're taking into their body because they trust people. But when you read things, you've got to look between the lines also. So that's what I'm trying to do a little bit here. And I know it's all my subjective interpretation, but sometimes it ends up going where everyone else goes through different means. So anyhow, I'll get off that soapbox. Okay, back to my regular station program here. As well as ho, ho, ho. And who says that? Santa or Satan. So also look at the word Mayday, which is actually what started out as like a workers' day where they can join whatever union they wanted, but it centered around workers and them picnicking and doing that maypole dance. But when I look at the numbers there and I reduce it on top there, it's 996. And 996 is 366, the secret code decode, the White House 366. Above there it says 366, so I looked at 366 and it's a satanic mark. And it's also Google. And Google is goo gel, is what I've looked at, like the hydrogel in those needle crafting things. And goo gel is genetically modified children at the 896. And there's a lot of numerology that goes with 896, which I found was interesting. It's mind control supreme, Nazis, UFOs. So also, if I look at the words May 1st, I didn't finish that last part, but I'll get into that hopefully later. But when I look at the words May 1st, it's 716, 666, 111. May 1st is also raise gangs. Kind of reminds me of this, like looking at this masked cell tower beaming out over everybody. It's also at 716, it's the Lord's magic is cameras. And you know, when you look at the anagram for Americans, that's in camera. So Lord's magic is cameras, the jab, master eye, God of Zion, and rhythms. And it's funny because rhythms is spelled like that, R-H-Y-T-H-M-S, with a Y, not an I. So it reminded me of the holy algorithm. That's where I get the 896. But the holy algorithm spelled with an I, not a Y. It's also Trump Make America Great Again, which I thought was kind of creepy. And it goes into the age of Aquarius, I'm pretty sick, All Souls Day, quality of life, frequencies, which is what that May 1st raise gangs looks like or reminds me of. It's the frequencies. Have no fear, bankruptcy, Beersheba, to tell the truth, genetically modified children again, and back up to that satanic mark. I looked on archive.org and saw this document, Mayday, 1934. So it was talking about how this is May 1st was sort of known as the workers' holiday, but look, I mean, I don't think anything's changed since then, but this was published by the Communist Party in New York, May 1st. So I thought that was interesting and kind of fitting that they picked May 1st as the day that Sprint was going to suddenly make your phone inoperable. So, I mean, that's what they say, is that they're going to shut it down. It's not going to work if you don't put that 5G SIM card in it. When I look at the anagram for May 1st, it's FYI smart, like for your information smart, and stay firm. And when I thought of stay firm, it reminded me of The Firm. Remember that thriller drama in 1993 with, is that Tom Cruise? Like the nice one eye there. And the plot is basically about a young lawyer who joins a small but prestigious law firm, only to find that most of the clients are on the wrong side of the law. The company is helping to launder mob money. Remember the commission, the America Mafia that they talk about in HR 2501, the commission that was introduced in 414. And yeah, when I look at the word algorithm with a Y, like spelled with a Y, not with an I, like it's spelled here, the numerology I get for algorithm 704 and 762 and 127, that name came up. The Lanai Harper came up. So I looked at the anagram for that, and it's AI Harry Plan, Day of Vengeance, going down to the Harry Plan thing. Harry AI Plan, and Harry is to honor, praise, or celebrate. So honor, praise, or celebrate the AI plan. I wonder what that is. And I looked at the word algorithm, just the way that was spelled, the holy algorithm under the Trump Make America Great Again numerology. And some of the words that came up under algorithm was condition, forehead sign, invasion, and the secret. And when I looked up the word algorithm, it's in mathematics and computer science. An algorithm is a finite sequence of rigorous instructions typically used to solve a class of specific problems or to perform a computation. So basically you're programming, you could be programming AI. And if you have the goal to get rid of poverty, that AI, that could be just basically getting rid of poor people, because that's poverty. And they'll do it any way they can think of it. There's no feelings with AI. So algorithms are used as specifications for performing calculations and data processing. And also when I looked at the anagram for algorithm, it's logarithm, which in mathematics, the logarithm is the inverse function of exponentiation. Is that how you say it? You know, exponentially, like it just keeps multiplying. That means the logarithm of a given number is the exponent to which another fixed number, the base, must be raised to produce that number. And here's a good visual I have of it. Look at this. See how it's exponentially increasing in size? The squares, see how they get bigger? Anyhow, that's logarithm, and this is algorithm. But basically, I think you can program AI to solve the class of specific problems. You could be the class. So here's a little book I saw on archive.org. Also, it's called Gray Rabbit's Mayday. I don't know why that just moved, but Gray Rabbit's Mayday by Allison Utley. Pictures by Margaret Tempest. I think that's interesting. For some reason, they make you sign into this book. I didn't want to sign into it, but on page 40 it says, but Hare was late, the children too. something had been up at dawn, putting the four something, my finishing touches on their crowns and scepters. So in this little book about the Mayday's Gray Rabbit's Mayday, that's an old book. The publication date was 1963. And I'm just going to read some of this to you. It says, "It's in my book of wisdom," went on the great bird. What is the great bird? Could that be the phoenix? Who knows? He went back to the little room in his tree and brought out the green book, which contains so much knowledge of birds and animals. On May Day, make a crown of flowers and a scepter and a cowslip balls. Take them to a May tree, he read slowly, spectacles on beak. Here's the May tree. It says, colorful springtime tradition in Hungary, the May tree. Interesting how it's the study in Hungary, like shelves are bare. May tree is also a Korean music group with blue ties, by the way. What kind of flowers? Wise Owl called Hare. It doesn't say, answered Wise Owl, and he turned a page. Oh yes, it says cowslips and all spring flowers, but at the top of the crown there must be a crown imperial. I just happened to look up crown imperial here. 1287, 936, 156. The first three just happen to be Donald John Trump, Divine Matrix, and the Soul Destroyer. It's also the Tree of Knowledge. And I showed earlier on May Day, down here, 69, it's knowledge. If you flip that 69 upside down, knowledge. Crown Imperial is also 666 under the English and Simple Gematria, 936 and 156. It's also global currency, which is also 911 and 936 and 156. And this document on May Day, this 1934, inside it reads, they wanted people to participate in parade, demonstrations, march to Union Square, attend and bring your shopmates to the gigantic May Day celebration arranged by Communist Party, New York District at Madison Square Garden. And it says Tuesday, May 1st at 7:30 p.m. May Day is the traditional day of the greatest unity and solidarity of all workers in struggle for our vital needs against the capitalist. One mighty united front demonstration of the New York workers will strike terror into the hearts of the bosses. It will force concessions from the capitalists and their government. Fight in your shops, in your union, in your organization for the united front of struggle of the whole working class this May Day. Pour out into the streets in mighty display of proletarian solidarity. Sweep aside all those who prevent the unity of the working class on the great day of working class struggle. Organize in your shops, unions, and organizations for participation in the great United Front May Day demonstration of the New York workers. So I just thought that was sort of interesting. In this same document, May Day 1934 by Melek Epstein, it talks about LaGuardia, and I thought that was sort of weird because he was some mayor who was campaigning. And it says here, LaGuardia fights to abolish many city jobs but keeps the fire traps. It says 44 is a big number for them. 44 people, among them 18 children, have perished in fires in the slum dwellings in the city during the past 4 months. Lots of fours. These 44 workers and their families are victims of the most brutal and criminal negligence on the part of the city and the federal governments. They spelled governments, but I guess maybe that's how they spelled it. The owners of the slums are not ordinary small fry. Sorry, hang on. I'm going to scroll up here so I can read this better. Let me start over at that sentence or that paragraph. The owners of the slums are not ordinary small fry landlords. The slumlords are properties of the Vincent Astor, a close friend of Roosevelt, Vanderbilt, Blanchford, Hamilton Fish. These are the big Illuminati families, anti-Soviet, Bater, etc. The fire traps bring in ample profits to these wealthy aristocrats. They are not interested in raising the slums and investing money to put up modern fireproof houses. Roosevelt is spending billions of dollars, but not for housing. Mayor LaGuardia talks about rushing the money to Washington for finances. But don't think that the mayor is not doing anything to improve the housing for the poor. Let's see, let's go down here. It talks about something, yellow socialists. The Communist Party calls upon you workers to thunder your demand in the, what does that say, ears of LaGuardia this May 1st. And this is something just a teeny bit interesting I found, gatesfoundation.org, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they talk about H. LaGuardia Foundation. It might be totally different, and they talk about to provide support for a conference in Brazil to design a program of projects to transfer successful smallholder conservation agricultural strategies from Latin America to Africa. Anyhow, Brazil is one of the BRICS members, you know, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I think someone else is joining it too, but anyhow, BRICS. But that article in that PDF was LaGuardia keeps his promises to the banks and not to the workers. Where have we seen that before? So they supposedly took this Mayday celebration that was supposedly for the workers, and they turned it into a help call sign. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. You had to say it 3 times. So I looked at that numerology, and it's ensuring that they must, what is it? Ensuring that they must to be destroyed. The Matrix has you, the storm is coming, and the New World Order. Isn't that interesting how that's 207 right there? Sorry about my crappy camera work. But the New World Order is part of Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And just happens to be that Mayday, May 1st, is when Sprint is basically shutting down, they're switching their SIM card over to T-Mobile, who's going 5G. It's also Mayday, Mayday, Mayday is also United States of America, not of, but United States of America, and Mind Sorcerer Corona. My neighbors are being really loud right now. And look at this, ensuring that they must to be destroyed. I'm sure we can word that better somehow, but it's also, there's your 444s. Okay, looking again at the word Mayday came up, and there's your Freemason symbol there, and the A. This is 2016. You turn that 16 upside down, there's your 19. So it says Strangers, and this is I guess it's some album, but it says Manic Mayday, and here their music, their play, it's The Mad, Dirty Games, and Passive. And isn't that kind of strange that Passive happens to be 201, 2 minutes and 1 second, like the event 201, like Johns Hopkins University, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that whole kickoff to the whole needle crafting agenda. But the Strangers group, they refer to themselves as NIN. It's as in 9-inch nails. NIN, N-I-N. But just the numerology also, the 222, that's pretty significant. 222. Just looking at the top 3, Hitler, Armageddon, and Hidden Codes. 222 is also Amtrak, as in the railroads, RR. So here's Trent Reznor. He is an American musician, singer, songwriter, record producer, and composer. He serves as a lead vocalist, multi-instrumentalist, and principal songwriter in the industrial rock band 9-Inch Nails. It was founded in 1988. and it's funny, and of which he was sole official member until 2016. He's born a man, stayed a man so far. Interesting, huh? What a success. Born in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. He appears to be one of those music child prodigies. When I look at the anagram of his name, it's or incremental hertz. Michael Trent Reznor is or incremental hertz, as in 5G or frequencies or microwave. It's also RR Telemann Hertz icon. And I found this one interesting, the RR Telemann Hertz icon, because when I looked at the anagram at AT&T spelled out like that, AT&T, I came up with NT data. And NT, according to Wikipedia, is Windows NT, a family of operating systems. Where have we seen that word before? Operating systems from Microsoft. Network termination, a device connecting a customer's data or telephone equipment to the local exchange carrier's line. It's funny because NT can also be near threatened. It could be no tomorrow. Network technology. NT, it's also a scan that measures the genetics conditions like Down syndrome. I just thought that was interesting. So going from AT&T, looking at the anagram and seeing the NT data, this guy Ray Savvy, Rye, could be Rye, like Catcher in the Rye, any device, any smartphone that a person bought in 2021 would have 5G support. An indicator will pop up in the display top bar to show when the device is using 5G. That's nice to know that. And this is funny that I guess he didn't say this, someone else did in this article, I'll show it to you later. The laws of physics are the same in the United States and France. Shouldn't the laws of physics be the same everywhere? It says Steinke and Vestberg said in a letter Sunday to U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, I don't know how you say that, and FAA Administrator Stephen Dickinson, talking about if U.S. airlines are permitted to operate flights, every day in France, then the same operating conditions should allow them to do so in the United States. That's because there was a conflict between the 5G and the airplanes being safe. So I looked a little bit further into this Peter Rysavy, and he owns the company Rysavy Research. It's a long-time telecom industry. He's the president. And here's their logo, RR, like railroad, data communications and wireless technology. Rysavy Research analyzes data communications network and wireless, including internet technology, cellular 1G to 6G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Internet of Things, that's the IoT, location, security, mobile communicating, and spectrum. We're back to the rainbow. This is one of the images they have on their page. So they're consulting about technology. The technocrats are they're gonna be killing us soon. And remember that NT data in AT&T is a family of operating systems. Remember that from Microsoft? Reuters actually acknowledged, which most of us know, that the companies Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna literally refer to themselves or their needle crafting as operating systems. In fact, to be more specific, quote, operating system designed to program humans. And just quickly looking at the anagram for Rysavy Research and Rye, because I can't stop thinking of that Catcher in the Rye. Here's something that's written about that book, Catcher in the Rye, nicknamed the Bible of Teenage Angst. Tell me some teenagers aren't going through a bad period right now. November 22, which would be 11/22. Well-known theory about Catcher in the Rye is that it is the trigger for sleeper assassins trained by CIA's MK Ultra mind control program to take out individuals. That's where you can read the rest of it if you want. But who needs mind-controlled assassins, trained assassins, if you've got all these cell towers? quick comment here. In a recent Federal Communications Commission action, AT&T spent $9.1 billion. There's your 9119. There's that again on new spectrum. They really need that high 5G stuff. They're going to market it as 5G plus. And of course, that's kind of like the hive mentality, just kind of symbol of the hive, the comb. But one of these Mayday things that I found regarding this album, Strangers Manic Mayday, and the song Passive, the 2-minute and 1-second song Passive, and the song's by A Perfect Circle. Okay, so I guess that's the name of the group, is A Perfect Circle. And the lyrics are, dead as dead can be, my doctor tells me, but I just can't believe him. Ever the optimistic one, I'm sure of your ability to become my perfect enemy. Wake up and face me, don't play dead, because maybe someday I'll walk away and say, you disappoint me. Maybe you're better off this way, leaning over you here, cold and catatonic. I catch a brief reflection, what you could and might have been. It's your toy and your ability, it's your right and your ability to become my perfect enemy. Interesting though, that I catch a brief reflection. How many people of you guys have known people who have been needle crafted and they're kind of not the same people anymore? Anyhow, wake up, don't play dead, all this. Maybe you're better off this way. They repeat that over and over and over. It's sort of a sick song, and not in a good way sick. And it ends up with this. 12 times it repeats itself. Passive aggressive BS there. It repeats itself over and over and over. Anyhow, this guy going into the 9 nails, he's the 9-inch nails. You know, 9-inch nails has the crucifix kind of connotation to it. 9-inch nails, NN, lion chains, hand or head. I wonder what that's about. Significant resonance, Oscars. Half human, Super Bowl, locomotion. And loco also means poison. There's a plant, a loco plant, that that's why the cows go crazy. So there's your locomotion, like RR. So I'm running out of room, so I'm going to have to do another video part to this. But so for now, I'll come back with this and finish up. But the 9-inch nail goes to the crucifixion, and that's, I spelled it that way, crucifixion, like it's not real. Not real. Spelled crucifixion is also restarting.